Do you remember the days when working for the Big Four was all there is? That was the pinnacle, that was the top of the mountain, that was the highlight of your career. The future belongs to accountants that are bold, that can challenge the data, that can ask better questions. And knowing when to slow the machine down or question the machine, that's good leadership, that's good thought leadership. Audit your digital presence, your digital platform. Who would hire you? Why would they hire you? What is it that you've got going for you that says, I'm really good at this? And here's the evidence. After 2 episodes inside the Big Four AI race, this final chapter focuses on you, how accounting, finance, and tech professionals can turn this disruption into differentiation and maintain your authority in what has become an increasingly automated world. I'm Rob Brown, this is the Accounting Voices podcast. As always, do you remember the days when working for the Big Four was all there is? That was the pinnacle, that was the top of the mountain, that was the highlight of your career. And for many accounting graduates, that was what you aspired to. You did your qualifications, and if you could get a job, and they recruited hard, didn't they? And it wasn't a problem for them bringing people in because people were lining up at the doors to go in. And in many ways, the Big Four have defined the accounting profession, what they do. Obviously, they earn billions and they employ thousands. But we're changing tack here in that the Big Four is not all there is. You know that. More and more people are looking at careers away from the Big Four. And indeed, we've had episodes on this show where we talked about layoffs in the Big Four and the way AI and private equity are changing the game. So after 2 episodes inside the Big Four AI race, this final chapter focuses on you, how accounting, finance, and tech professionals can turn this disruption into differentiation and maintain your authority in what has become an increasingly automated world. I'm Rob Brown, this is the Accounting Voices podcast. As always, weekly show, solo episodes from me, giving you information, data, insights that help you stay relevant and informed. So if you followed this mini-series, this is the third of 3. You've seen the story unfold. Episode 1, I talked about the shock and the billions that have been spent on artificial intelligence. We know it's shaping the game. Episode 2, I gave you more of a playbook on how the smaller firms and people outside the Big Four, and by smaller, that includes all the mid-tier firms, can copy the discipline that the Big Four are doing, not necessarily the budget, of course, but you've got to remember when they're working on such a big scale, they need to get this stuff right. So they do a lot of due diligence and research into where they are going with AI. And in previous episodes, I've told you their playbook and the different directions that they are taking with AI. Today, I want to focus more on you in this final wrap-up, how to stay credible and competitive beyond the Big Four with AI in mind. Because AI, it's changed what clients value. It's changed how careers are structured. It's not the hours or the output anymore. It's competitive edge comes from your judgment, from your clarity, from your confidence in a way, from your personal brand, from your critical thinking. And there's a credibility shift, not just with AI and how credible that is, but the people that are using it. Remember how reputation used to come from your job title and your tenure and the brand, the logo on your business card? Well, these days that's changing. People trust personal brands more than they trust corporate brands. Public knowledge. So now credibility comes from visibility, proof of your thinking, proof of your authority, starting your journey, being a little bit more personal and opening up a little bit about your areas of expertise as an individual, as much as it is from the employer that you represent. Even if you're an accountant in industry, you work for a company, it doesn't have to be private practice. You want credibility to get board level buy-in for your decisions. You're giving them data and you want to tell the stories behind the numbers. And when a client or an employer searches your name, what do they find? I'm reminded of the old joke, where's the best place to hide a dead body? On the 3rd page of Google. Why? Because nobody ever looks there. So when you go to LinkedIn, which is the de facto place where they find people like you, that's where accounting, finance professionals tend to hang out. It's not social media, is it? It's professional media. What do they see? What's your profile like? Is there evidence of your insight, or is it just silence and tumbleweeds? Now, I get that you're busy and you don't have time to be on LinkedIn, but you should make building some kind of personal brand or public profile a priority that goes beyond the About Us page on your website. So going back to AI, we know it can draft reports, but it can't build your reputation. It's like a personal trainer at the gym will say to you, I can't do your push-ups for you. I can't do your lifting. I can't do your running for you. You've got to do it yourself. It's your job. So let's get practical. some tips here. Number one, become the translator. This is a useful way to think about AI. The best accountants, accounting professionals, finance people these days, they translate the bridge between humans and machines. They don't just push the data through the tools. They explain the results, the limits, the implications, the outcomes. That makes you indispensable for all the AI and large language models, whatever you're using. It's interpreting those and feeding the right stuff in so you get good stuff out. So you become that translator that gives context. Context is really important with influence. You're explaining why things are important and what are the implications of what you're finding. So if you want indispensability, if you want differentiation, just see yourself as a translator interpreting the numbers. Just like maybe a language translator, you're turning one language into another that people can understand. So that's my first tip for you today. The second tip is to lead through visibility. If you are in a leadership role, or you aspire to be in a leadership role, or you want any kind of influence, you might be an introvert. That shouldn't be a problem. Even the most introverted people in the world will influence thousands of people in their lifetime. So don't fall back on that as a crutch. Good leaders need to be visible. You need to be setting the example. You need to be showing people that you are vocal, that you are out there. And there are a million different ways to do this, but I think particularly of LinkedIn. You don't need to get millions of followers, thousands, or even hundreds of followers. You're not looking for likes and comments, but the very act of translating your expertise into some video or some text, it's like the Latin word for author, derivative. It creates authority. Author equals authority. Author is putting anything in writing. So the people shaping the next phase of accounting, the next stage, they're not necessarily the partners, directors, people at the top. They're the ones who post and speak and share lessons, findings, journeys openly. You can do it at all levels, at entry level and right at the top. So it's not about I'm thrilled to announce. It is ethical bragging of a sort, but it's not vanity. It's credibility in public view. And you're not necessarily writing it for your audience. You're writing it for you. It's the person you become by putting stuff out there, the confidence that gives you, and the process you go through as you're putting it together. So number 2 is lead through visibility. I've said that if you want to be successful in this world, then visibility leads to relevance, and invisibility leads to unemployment. Number 3, build fluency and not fear. So whatever obstacles are stopping you from putting stuff out there, fear impedes progress, doesn't it? It's this fluency, this momentum, this consistency that builds confidence. I'll give you an example. The Inside Public Accounting podcast with Chelsea Summers, she's the executive director at IPA. They do some fabulous data-based research. They do the Rosenberg survey, they do the IPA 500 and many more reports. And the audience predominantly for this show is North America, although we're in 153 countries. Chelsea and I co-host the Inside Public Accounting podcast. And by her own admission, she will say, when I first started hosting the podcast, I was nervous. And a lot of us are. When you turn that camera on, when you're recording yourself, you're seeing yourself, it can be intimidating. But she is world class now. The way she shows up, the way she delivers to camera, the authority she has in her tone, the way she's not even massively changed what she does, but the confidence she has. People buy confidence, people buy certainty, and Chelsea is one of the best now. And do check out the Inside Public Accounting podcast if you haven't already. So let's build up that fluency that stops you being fearful and learn how the tools work. Even if you don't build the tools, you can still learn how they work. You don't have to write code. You just need to be confident with the technology, confident with the idea of being on camera, confident with the idea of putting stuff out there. And don't be scared of upsetting a couple of people, because it's only by being more declarative, more authoritative, more bold that you will make more people love you. 1 or 2 will hate you. But being bland and safe, that's where fear comes in. Number 4, I'd say to you, invest in your judgment. You are super smart, technically brilliant, maybe not as confident socially in these kind of personal branding situations, but the future belongs to accountants that are bold, that can challenge the data, that can ask better questions, and knowing when to slow the machine down or question the machine. That's good thought leadership. So what can you do now? Quickly, audit your digital presence, your digital platform. Who would hire you? Why would they hire you? What is it that you've got going for you that says, I'm really good at this, and here's the evidence? Number 2, learn one AI tool. I've said this in previous episodes as well. Just learn one tool this month. Teach it to someone else. Share what you're doing. Share your journey a little bit, even if it's not in public, but it is with colleagues. or your community, wherever you plugged in. And number 3, share one insight this week. These are small practical steps. So first is audit your presence and really critically think how you're showing up, and even run that through ChatGPT or whatever you're using and saying, how visible am I? What could I do to improve this? Number 2 is learn one tool this month and teach it to someone else. Number 3 is share one insight on LinkedIn or inside your firm on our blog site or any kind of intranet. And number 4 is ask better questions at every meeting. This is what AI does for us in that we are better critical thinkers. We ask better, sharper questions. Humans still own the why. Remember that in this age of AI, the big four can put in all the budgets and build these massive models, but they still need people to question the why. And you own the why. You own the context. So AI might change the tools, it might change the conversation, but the credibility still comes from your clarity, from your character, from your communication, from your courage to question. So this is Accounting Voices. I'm Rob Brown. Subscribe on YouTube. We've got a thriving channel. We have a lot of comments going on there. And Accounting Voices is on LinkedIn. So do join that newsletter. I give tips every month and share more about what's going on with the podcast. We even have a bi-monthly meeting called the Accounting Voices Collective. And it's for a North American audience if you're out there. And you can join us for a speed networking session every couple of months. So if your company or your firm wants to reach accounting decision makers worldwide, search me on LinkedIn. We are now on the journey for a sponsor for this show as we go forward at the end of 2025 and on to 2026. I hope it's been a good show for you in that you've taken a couple of things away, maybe just to reinforce the things that you're already doing. If you think change is hard, try not changing. And we are in the midst of huge change at the moment. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of Accounting Voices.